With the memory of 9/11 fading for some and images of that day unknown to a younger generation, the Smithsonian Institution is piecing together history, object by object. William Brangham is back with a behind the scenes look, part of our arts and culture series, Canvas.
Tucked away within the National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C., are some of the most personal and poignant relics from September 11th.
There were people that really wanted to make sure that the loss, the sacrifice, the experience of their loved one was recorded.
Back in 2002, Congress tasked the museum with preserving the story of 9/11 in artifacts from that day and beyond.
Collecting is truly a black art. There's no book on how to do it. We wanted to collect those icons, those really important pieces that create a signpost. Today there are deniers of the Holocaust. We hear from Afghanistan that the Taliban is denying that Osama bin Laden was involved in September 11th. That having those artifacts that make it undeniable that something happened is so critical.
There's no special exhibit right now, in part because of the pandemic, but the museum rotates many of its some 300 objects from 9/11 in and out of exhibitions.
This is a piece of steel from the World Trade Center. We traveled to the scrapyard, picked out a piece that we really thought looked like the emotion of the place and collected it. The World Trade Center was assembled like a Tinker Toy set in little pieces that could be put together, and we could actually figure out whose office this was, who it represented.
In addition to the steel beam, other items from that day are this airphone from Flight 93, where passengers and crew fought the terrorists and downed the plane in rural Pennsylvania, and this ID card worn by Navy Commander Patrick Dunn, who'd kissed his pregnant wife goodbye before heading to the Pentagon, where he was killed in the attack. There's the cell phone used by then New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani as he helped his city respond.
All right, well then let's go north then.
The angry aftermath of 9/11 is reflected as well. This Sikh turban belonged to Balbir Singh Sodhi, who was murdered in a hate crime, mistakenly targeted as a Muslim in the days after the attacks. Other powerful objects come from the donations of loved ones. New York Fire Chief Joseph Pfeiffer was one of the initial commanders on scene at the World Trade Center, directing firefighters up into the burning towers. One of those firemen was his brother Kevin.
And we stood there and we looked at each other, wondering if each of us was going to be okay. And then I told him to go up, to evacuate and to rescue people in the building. That was the last time I saw my brother Kevin.
His brother's body was discovered in the smoldering wreckage days later, along with Kevin's officer's tool, which is an implement used to wedge open doors.
And we knew it was him because on the back of his bunker gear, it had his name. And lying next to him was his officer's tool. And we put him in a stretcher along with this tool and covered him with an American flag, and we carried him out of Ground Zero.
Joe Pfeiffer later donated Kevin's officer's tool to the Smithsonian.
I hope that they come away understanding that they represent what I call ordinary heroes. That day, as my brother was coming up, people were coming down, and he was telling them, "Don't stop, keep going, you could get out of here." He stopped to take and redirect people from one stairs to a safer stairs, a faster way out. I'm sure he used that tool to point. Doing ordinary things at an extraordinary time made a difference.
20 years ago, Univision reporter Blanca Rosa Vilches, in her blue suit, was out covering the New York mayoral race. But when the towers fell, millions watched her in real time. After days reporting on the attack, Vilches put that outfit, unwashed, into the back of her closet. Years later, she too donated it to the Smithsonian.
What have we learned in these 20 years? this person who ran with the jacket is alive. How is she doing now? What happened to the country in 20 years? And if that jacket helps to ask the person himself or herself that question, that jacket doesn't belong to me. It belongs to a museum.
Her outfit will soon be part of a new, larger Latino exhibit examining 9/11's impact on that community.
Individual communities were affected on different levels, and this is our opportunity to be able to tell their story because it allows us to tell a broader story, especially after 20 years.
In another area of the museum, photo curator Shannon Parrish continues to add to the over 1,000 photos the Smithsonian has gathered to help document that day and its ripple effects.
This is a body of work by photojournalist Ashley Gilbertson, who created a series and a book called Bedrooms of the Fallen. It's an homage to those soldiers who gave their lives in the line of duty in Afghanistan in particular. But it also reminds us of where the war takes place. It takes place at the home front.
For the past 18 years, the Smithsonian has been building this time capsule-like collection, including this clock from the Pentagon, frozen in time the moment the plane hit, a reminder for all time. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm William Brangham.
The public can share stories, see photos and artifacts, and watch discussions on the National Museum of American History's website, americanhistory.si.edu.